Tell me again about the books.
Archive or real time?
But the libraries, are the texts not still printed?
Yes, but in hypermedia. Infinite preservation with instant access.
Tomorrow, an Italian sea captain sets sail. By following the sun, he reckons to pilot a course to the Japans. Or will it be to the edge of the earth? Do you know what they will discover there?
A new world.
I wish I could know more about this new world. But who knows how long the voyage will last. And the grave may have the advantage of me before the ship returns. All these answers, and all my questions.
Yes, but which is worse? Never to know or failing to ask?
Truly, I shall write my questions down and send them with the ship. In what language do the learned men of the New World correspond, Latin or Greek? No. Not in one of the vulgar tongues. Italian? French? What grammar do the scientists of the New World favor?
They use many different protocols.
You said something before. Let me see. Yes, here it is. E equals m times c squared. What is the meaning of this expression?
It's an equation associated with the theory of relativity.
In sooth, the relativity of what?
Everything.
Everything?
Everything in relation to the speed of light.
The speed of light?
The world of tomorrow will be as different from today as ours is from the Renaissance. A new world of communications moving at the speed of light. A quantum leap in knowledge. But how can we release these new ideas? The spoken word is too limiting. The written word is too slow. Ideas moving at the speed of light transcend the old barriers of time and distance. To share these ideas with more people, we need a new approach, a network designed for tomorrow.
20 years ago, we saw this nation moving increasingly away from manufacturing as the foundation of its prosperity to services as a new avenue of employment for our people. What we've discovered since then is this really isn't so much a change from manufacturing to services as it is a change from commerce in goods to commerce in ideas.
And just as we need railroads and highways to move our manufactured goods, we need faster, more powerful computer networks to move our ideas.
First, we want to provide more institutions with access to networks. Second, we want to provide institutions with higher speed access to networks because more people at those institutions are using the network and new applications themselves require greater capacity. We also want to provide new services on the existing networks. These are evolutionary changes. We also need to make some revolutionary changes and start the research and develop the technology for the next generation of networks.
I think that with this network that we do begin to change, we have already begun to change our way of doing science. We collaborate with people we could not formally collaborate with. We can get our information, our data much more quickly, and we no longer feel limited by where we are working physically because we have access to resources across the country.
NSFNET has already linked the major regional networks and supercomputer sites in the country, What is needed now is a network that is 1,000 times more powerful. By connecting researchers from all sectors, higher education, business, and government, we can maximize our research dollars and hasten the transfer of these research results to our economy and society. One of the most immediate benefits of a national research network will be to speed better health care to all regions of the country. Most people do not live near a major medical center. For them, the network could be a lifesaver.
I was looking at his EKG before I came in, and it really looks very good. You know, one of the things we're watching over the years is his heart rate, because after this kind of surgery, the mustard operation, some kids have slow heart rates, and occasional kids need pacemakers, but his heart rate and his EKG really look good.
Dr. Robert Beekman of the Mott Children's Hospital Pediatric Cardiology Department travels to satellite clinics to make follow-up visits with his patients. A computer network allows him to call up data from the hospital and share it with local physicians.
Well, I think there's quite a bit of potential. In the very near future, we are going to have virtually all our diagnostic pediatric cardiology data online. We're in the process of creating that database and making it accessible right now, so that I'll have accessible to me in this type of situation all the cardiology data from Ann Arbor, including cardiac catheterization data, echocardiography data, electrocardiograms, exercise, treadmill stress tests.
If, on the other hand, there were a national sort of data superhighway to which virtually all hospitals were linked, and even in the foreseeable future, all physicians' offices, the data on this patient could be transmitted to a specialized medical center. You could have physician-to-physician telecommunications. You could transmit the x-rays and other diagnostic aids that the primary care physician had done on this patient to the specialists at this medical center. So in effect, you would be able to pull together from geographically disparate regions a team of highly specialized physicians in a very immediate time frame to aid in the diagnosis of complicated cases, which would then rapidly speed the prognosis for this patient and would result in better health care for everyone nationwide.
The average person doesn't realize how much the research being done with supercomputers is going to affect them these days. We're working here at the Cornell National Supercomputer Facility in collaboration with a hospital in New York City, Memorial Sloan Kettering, and the Hospital for Special Surgery. What we hope to do, and what we think will happen, is develop new treatment techniques for X-ray radiation therapy for tumors. Surgeons these days have better access than usual two-dimensional X-rays. Classically, you had a two-dimensional film X-ray, and they looked at it on a light box on the wall, like you see on a television show. Now then, they produce a large amount of data from a CT scanner, and what we've been trying to do is work with image processing technology to be able to generate three-dimensional images from the CT scans. Most challenging part is the fact that we're dealing with geometry at a level that most people haven't dealt with geometry yet. In the commercial CAD-CAM environment, geometry is, in one sense, fairly cut and dried. The parts look like machined parts. They're smooth surfaces, round circles, things like that. The body is totally different. In the medical area, the shapes are very complex, they're very sculpted, they're very aesthetic and very pleasing. And it's challenging to be able to figure out how to represent that sort of data in a computer.
Ready?
Ready.
Attention.
Attention.
Drink. Drink.
Drink. Are you sure?
Yes.
Yes.
Prosthetic engineering, like healthcare, begins with the study of the most complex machine of all.
If I try to address the issue of how much computer power, flexibility is required to study and understand the human body, it's fairly easy to say there's no upper limit. It's been a finding, in our case, and I think in other laboratories, that biological systems are amongst the most demanding of engineering science methods when you want to understand them in depth. You can't make simplifying assumptions as you would like to. You have to represent them in the complexity that they possess. And that has drawn our group and other groups to the use of supercomputers. We can't afford to have them in our own backyard. We need the network.
What we've seen so far is scholars and people in industry working together to accomplish the transfer of technology. What has happened so far with the national networks that we've developed in the past, as that information transfer and idea exchange moves forward, what we've discovered is that people start working together with each other in new ways, and they can carry out entirely new kinds of projects.
A lot of people aren't aware of how diversified Michigan's economy is, that 91 of every 100 workers does not work for the big three, that even the big three has become the biggest consumer of machine vision systems, robots, information processing. And we're proud of our university system and the kind of links we now have with NSFNET. And to be able to tap into all the latest research, wherever it is in America, to maintain or improve our economic supremacy is absolutely critical, and it's an exciting challenge.
Because the National Research Network is going to have a major increase in performance and capabilities, our scientists are already talking about operating and controlling a space sensor from their laboratories. This telescience concept heavily depends on the performance and the capabilities offered by the National Research Network.
And while the network relays communications from space, challenges remain here on Earth.
The problems that we face in this country because of our own rapid growth, we can solve those in a variety of ways. One would be to simply walk away from technology. But it seems like with our current population, that's not a viable alternative. One example of the way you can use computer technology, land information technology, information technology to solve very practical problems is the case of siting a landfill. In this country, we are approaching a crisis in how we dispose of waste materials.
Well, the city of Lincoln decided in 1983 that it needed to build a new landfill. After that, it appointed a task force composed of experts and citizens that tried to evaluate potential sites for the landfill. They identified 30 different criteria that they felt were very important parameters. These included things like groundwater, the direction of flow of the groundwater. It included location factors, access to roads, the effect that might be had on surface water flow and water supplies. If the 30 parameters were taken in total, it took approximately 2 years and about $200,000 to identify 6 environmentally safe sites for the landfill for the city of Lincoln.
That within the facility we're in right now, the Calumet facility, the Center for Advanced Land Management Information Technologies, one of the student exercises that we use is siting of a landfill. The interesting thing is the students take about 2 hours to complete that exercise and get the same results that you would from a 2-year, $200,000 study. The use of technology to solve these kinds of problems, I think, is essential because we only have one planet. If we mess it up, we won't get a second chance, and we can't move on to a new one.
Pollution is a global concern, and knowledge is a global commodity. The world sends its young people to attend our universities and tap our virtually limitless sources of information. These young people return home, taking with them what they have learned. America leads the world in scientific research, but we are in danger of losing our lead without a more powerful network.
The study we completed 2 years ago found that the computing networks that were in place at that time weren't able to handle the data, the traffic, and the information that was being generated and projected in an adequate fashion. This isn't surprising because many of these networks had grown into their existing form at that time and had not been designed from the top down. Even establishing design goals and objectives in these networks is a trip into the unknown, because we're moving into a whole new area of technology here.
I think the notion of combining government, industry, and the universities is a powerful one. I think we've seen the value in Silicon Valley of bringing a university and industry consortium together. I think for a lot of the kinds of things that we think of for supercomputing, you need the financial resources of the government. An industry can't do it, a university can't do it, but a consortium of the several can do it. And when you realize that a lot of this has to be for the public good, it's really sort of a common science, if you will, that we're trying to create. I think it's absolutely vital that the three be put together.
Networking between people through computers and computer networks is the goal and the payoff I see in this work. I don't see it solely or even primarily as an issue of running those computer models for the knowledge they feed back. For in a way, they only feed back data, kind of naked stuff. What matters is that people can communicate with themselves and with others very rapidly. Okay. The faster you can make that loop go around, the faster you can learn and innovate.
Make a turn. Bravo.
We have a major dependence in this nation on the creation and the transmission of ideas. The future of this nation is at stake. The benefits from this network don't flow to individual people or to individual organizations. They flow to the whole nation. And for us to finance that new infrastructure, the federal government will have to provide resources that represent resources from the whole nation.
Okay, here we go. Come on. Over to the lab. Here we go, guys. Okay. 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 The work we're doing now will take many years, and it will take many years of study and laboratory work, and then the final beneficiary is probably not you and I, not the adults of the world today, but our children and the children after them. I couldn't do it quite as well as you folks did. Now we're going to another lab.
The hour is late. There is still so much I wish to know. Would it be that knowledge came as fleet as light?
It will.
So can we believe that men will change as much as this?
No, man won't change.
But the inventions, the discoveries you speak of, have they not made the world marvelous?
Yes, but there are many questions we still share.
And many answers.
Yes, in our future.